Hey everyone, Temporal here, and we are going to go ahead and do a
Never
review of
stop
Anna
fighting
here.
for what you believe in.
As for the level of this Anna, well, this Anna has told us on many occasions that they are in Overwatch League. I'll let you be the judge for that of yourself. You know, maybe they're Smurfing hardcore. I'm not going to say that they're in Overwatch League, but that's certainly what they'd tell you. But, you know, we're going to see how this game goes. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate it. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, all that good stuff.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years.
I mean, I'm sure he's in chat Semitic, so check with him.
In the desert,
Okay,
the cheetah
so
lives for 3 years.
oh, we have a super chat coming in for $20 saying, in the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, but the camel lives for 9, which is the voice line that we have seen spammed quite a bit already, like at least 6 times on the way here. Once again, coming in from Adam, who's being reviewed here, in the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, but the camel lives for 9. Thank you, Adam. Thank you. So we're making this a guess my rank. I mean, I know what his rank is. Temporal, do it. Tell him he sucks. You know you want to give in, but if I give in to the dark side, yeah, no, it's fair. It's fair. And then Adam says Temporal
In the
sucks.
desert, the cheetah lives for 3
To
years.
point out the gameplay
and
that
the
sucks
camel
and is
lives
bronze.
for
Sure.
9.
Okay. In the desert, I see it. I see it. Oh, this is gonna be fun. This is my Diamond Smurf. Yep.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. And the camel lives. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years.
Let's take a look at this. So here we are.
In the desert, the cheetah lives
Go
for
for
3
that.
years.
We're gonna hit
and the
that.
camel
Sure.
lives for 9. Get back in the fight.
You're gonna play around the outside. I can live with you playing around the outside. I get that you want to heal Reinhardt. We're definitely worried about this ball coming through, and we only have 75 health. So we really do need to prioritize our own life as much as it kind of sucks over saving the Reinhardt here.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. And
Yeah.
the camel lives for 9.
The objective is now active.
No. Yeah. So like, I totally get why you felt the need to try to help them here, to help the Reinhardt. Totally get that. But as soon as you start taking damage here, you gotta turn. You can keep going forward, you can keep going this way, but you gotta turn and try to be aware of that, try to help that, etc. Remember, your BAP is still up too, and even if you don't get a heal on your Reinhardt, there's a good chance that your BAP is gonna get a heal on this Reinhardt. Plus, your Reinhardt still has full shield. You don't necessarily know that, but in general, Reinhardt has this tool called a shield to protect himself with, and you are over interested in keeping him alive. You can communicate on voice comms, you know, can't help you, or ball on me, or whatever you want here, but you do need to turn and deal with this ball with your weapon. Now, your weapon isn't actually going to like instantly force ball away, but it does keep him more honest. It does help reduce the damage. It does let you see how you're going to use Hog to body block for you, and you can do this as you're continuing to wander down to here where you can hit that heal shot or two on the Reinhardt. And they say, in the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives for 9. Okay, Blah. Blah's fighting for that trolling title.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. And the camel lives for 9.
Okay. And then this was just too much. Like, you can throw the heal. Don't get me wrong. You can throw the heal. I think you're trying to continue to wander away because of this Hammond. But because you never checked on this Hammond, you don't know that this Hammond is actually left. So you're too far in the open. You get this far in the open to the point where even this may have become the better cover. But this was really just too far. You heal the Rhine once, then you have to reload. That's life. You're done. The Reinhardt still has a perfectly healthy shield, and the BAP is healing him. You see how this goes? You unfortunately risked your life for nothing here. I know you thought you could dunk on these diamond players with your, you know, with your skills, with your Overwatch League level skills, but sadly they will punish you for being that far in the open. Well, because the camel lives for 9. In the desert, the payload lives for 3 years,
In the desert,
and RT
the
Jersey
cheetah
isn't
lives for
spawned
3
for
years.
9. Ouch.
In the
Ouch.
desert, The cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives for 9.
Timberwolf's the best coach because he can concentrate for this stuff. With this stuff, I try.
The cheetah lives for 3 years,
Good.
and the camel lives for 9.
Close the angle.
The cheetah lives for 3 years.
2 shots.
In the
Last
desert,
shot.
The cheetah lives for 3 years, and the
Well
camel
done.
lives for 9.
Well done with the tech there.
This will help. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years,
Sure.
and the camel lives for 9.
That's kind of just pumping shots when you don't need to.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the
Okay.
camel lives for 9. In the desert, the cheetah lives
Everyone's
for 3
okay.
years, and the camel lives for 9.
No, I guess those were necessary.
Watching your back. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. You're powered up. Get in
Those
there.
are some shots right there.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years.
Sure.
In the desert, the cheetah
Go
lives
for a
3
nade.
years,
I'm not sure
and
what
the
on.
camel lives
I'm
for
really not
9.
sure what on. Purple. Is that for Zarya?
You're powered up.
Is that
Get
for
in
Hog?
there.
Because Hog's purple. And then that's real. Yeah, those are some wasted shots.
In the
Either some
desert,
wasted shots or
the
some
cheetah
low
lives for
probability
3
deep
years,
shots.
and the
Like, if
camel
those were
lives for
shots
9.
that were supposed to be deep, on like the, hey, we're going to hit the Reinhardt that's already up there, we're going to hit the opposing Zarya, was scope distance, not hip fire not hip fire distance. And if you were looking to heal your team, well, your team was still purple. Okay. Yeah, I can't watch this when a teammate does this. I stop what I'm doing to mute, avoid, and report them. I hear you. I hear you. Oh, we have a super chat coming in from Danana Split GL saying, for $4.99 in the desert, the hamster sleeps for 5 seconds until he gets tickled awake. Okay, okay. Is there a lot of tickling going on in the desert? I guess I need to research my zoology further. Look, I think people need to know about the lifespan of these animals. That's fair. That's fair. I like to spam ever get that feeling of deja vu because it makes sense. I could see that. One in suboptimal conditions lives for only 3.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives for 9.
I understand, Faraday. I understand.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the cheetah lives for 3 years.
To be honest, Eat My
and the
Dust is
camel
bound to
lives for 9.
Eat My Dust bound to Mouse Wheel is the way. Yeah, that's a pretty common one. It's a good one.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. In the desert,
You need to repeat myself as Ash. Okay. So we get hit there. That was pretty nice. Unfortunately, didn't work.
in the desert,
Oh, it did just barely miss. I thought we connected there. My bad. Good effort.
in the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. For 9. In the desert,
Yeah.
التكرار يعلم الشطار.
Are we changing voice lines?
In the desert,
There we go.
the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives for 9. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives for 9.
There should be a setting to mute spam for voice lines. I mean, there might be, but I'm not going to have access to it in the review.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. In the desert,
Or perhaps there should be, but words aren't. You know what I mean? Yeah, Squelch. Squelch is the point I'm making.
cheetah lives in the desert. The cheetah lives for 3 years. In the
I'm
desert,
a man of multiple purposes. Okay. Let's go back here.
you're going to be okay.
Your team doesn't really have the space that we'd like. Sure.
In the
Can't
desert,
heal them. Nope.
The cheetah in the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 cheetah lives for
Sure.
3 years. The camel lives for 9.
Okay. No, you canceled that. So your nade reload earlier was good.
Cheetah
There's
lives
not
for
a
3
pressing
years,
need to
and the
sleep
camel
this
lives
tracer
for
right
9.
here. Like, I don't mind if you sleep the tracer, but there's not a pressing need. Yeah, your timing was just a little off. You were trying for it. Okay. So still need a little bit more work there, but it was good earlier with the sleep. Or with the nade.
In the desert, the cheetah lives. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. In the desert, the cheetah
Again,
lives for
same thing here. You're doing it again.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3
This
years.
is fine. This is good.
cheetah
Your Reinhardt's
lives
in a
for
lot of
3
trouble.
years,
Your
and the
Reinhardt's not
camel
in as
lives
much
for
trouble
9.
anymore. You got his health up a little bit. That shield still looks healthy. Your BAP is back. And the Winston's coming after you. You now need to prioritize your own life over the Reinhardt's. You have a BAP. This would be more acceptable if, like, you had a Lucio healing your Reinhardt as your partner, or maybe you had a Zen as your partner, something like that. But, like, especially with a BAP, you need to prioritize your own life a little more highly when people get on you than, no, I must keep my tank alive.
In the desert, the cheetah lives.
Yeah. So how do you spam these buttons? Can you bind it to left mouse button or something? Scroll wheel is a common pick.
Much better than
But yeah, you
command
can bind it to a button. It's very distracting to spam it. Don't jump as much. Yeah, this is a little bit jumpy right here.
This is much better than command on the beach.
It's not the biggest thing. And Anna gets a little bit more of an excuse to jump because of quick scopes, etc. Because you can sometimes go, hey, Anna's one of those heroes that you don't need to beat out the habit quite as hard as you do with other heroes, because she can go jump in this direction, scope, maintain the speed that she had, fire, let go, and then sort of be like, okay, do it again. So she can be like, hey, I'm doing my scope shots while I'm in the air to maintain full movement speed as if I'd been walking across just on the ground, but I got scoped shots off, which normally slow down her movement speed. That said, that's not always what we're doing. We're just jumping for fun, it looks like, and that is not a great habit.
In the desert, the cheetah
Like,
lives
your
for
jumps,
3
if you
years,
jumped
and the
here
camel
because you went,
lives
hey,
for
I'm going to hit a
9.
quick scope shot, so be it. Wilton Portal, in my defense, in the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, but check this out, the camel lives for 9. Thank you. Didn't have split. I spam I need healing to remind to come to me, and it's a little bit of a bad habit of mine. I guess the camel doesn't live as long if it doesn't prioritize its own life. There you go.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. And the camel lives for 9. In the desert, I have no cheetah lives for 3 years. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years.
Angles open pretty wide.
You're powered up. Get
Okay.
in there. You're covered. You're powered up. Get in there.
I don't know if this was in reaction to him getting grabbed because you think he needs the protection, in which case it's wrong. His health is fine and his shield is fine, and there's not enough people close enough to him. And if you were going to do it, you do it later in the grab when his resources were a little lower. You'll have plenty of time to react. If this was instead a no, he's getting aggressive, it's probably a step early too. Like, he's not quite close enough to the Zarya, and he's not about to leave your line of sight either. So this is a little early either way.
Are you ready? In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years.
It was for the shatter? No, what happened is I nanoed. It was to follow up on the shatter, so you wanted him to do that. Yeah. Again, you can still micro this to be about half a second later because he's not close enough to any of his targets to swing on. And he's not leaving your line of sight yet either. Now, it's possible he's fire striking, in which case the nano does have a very small travel time and you'd want to send it now, potentially. in case he opens with a Fire Strike, you'll have plenty of time to react to a pin, plenty of time to react to him getting that step closer, and really plenty of time to react to a Fire Strike. You'll just do it as his hammer starts to go down. So yeah, this should have been half a second later, regardless.
You're powered up. Get in there. Are you ready? In the desert.
I just wanted to get it off. It was instinctual. I get it.
Cheetah lives for 3 years. In the desert.
Yeah. So.
In the desert. Cheetah lives for 3 years.
Nice sleep, but
And the
again,
camel
you're doing this
lives for
hippity hoppity
9.
thing.
Watching in the desert. The cheetah lives for 3 years. And the camel lives for 9.
I mean, you don't need the nade if the Reinhardt is sure, whatever.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years.
Stay tighter on the
and
pillar
camel
and get
lives
your
for
BAP.
9. In the desert,
You protect BAP, BAP will protect you.
in the desert,
Sure.
let them out. Cheetah lives for 3 years. And the camel lives for 9. In the desert, the cheetah lives
Yeah,
for
you have
3
both
years.
cooldowns.
Walk it off.
You're expecting him to follow. It's a little shallow. It's a little clear that the Winston hasn't followed at this point. Okay.
Walk it off.
It's not a terrible nade. Like, it's definitely not a terrible nade. It's a reasonable nade. I'm deciding how critical to be there. In Overwatch, temporal viewers live forever. There you go.
For 3 years. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. In the desert, you're powered up. Get in. The cheetah lives for 3 years.
Yeah, you have cover.
In the
Full
desert,
OP.
the cheetah
You're
lives
actually
for 3
drifting
years.
further from the
And
sim
the
wall than
camel
I'd
lives
like.
for
Like, the
9.
sim wall is wonderful. I have no problem with you leaving this cover because you have this cover. Cool. Fine by me. Perfectly fine. Except... What are you doing over here? No, why are you this far from your cover? This was actually better positioning because you had, like, cover with this. Like, you weaving up it here was better positioning. I was totally fine with this, too. This is just like, I have cover here, I have cover here. Like, this is beautiful. But I was perfectly fine with this. I actually don't like that you've drifted further from your cover here. I work for the Council of Cheetah Lifespan Awareness. If I had to take a guess, what I've been told is that it lives for 9 years. Is that a guess if you've been told it, but only in the desert? Thoughts, Temporal? Well, based on what I've been told, yeah. The cheetah does not live for 9 years in the desert. It's actually the camels that live for 9 years in the desert. The cheetahs only live for 3, but, you know, I don't know. I could be being trolled. It would not be above the person who told me this. I was thinking about this voice line earlier today. I was trying to remember if it was the cheetah who lives longer or the camel. Now I'll never forget. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, but the camel lives for 9, and Mercedes is going to repeat that twice more. Temporal, can you coach the cheetah to live longer? I can coach the cheetah to live longer. So what we're gonna have to do is the cheetah to live longer is it's a tough one, but we're gonna have to operate around, okay, well, not really a nocturnal animal as far as I know, so doesn't really want to be active at night. That's not going to work. Not going to be able to appropriately see the movements, hunt the creatures that they need to at night. But during the day, it's really tough. Like, it's tough in the day. We've got this whole, like, hey, it's tough conditions to live through. Got to get enough water. Really exhausting. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to operate sort of when it starts to get around dusk. That's when we're going to operate. We're going to be like, hey, can we do this split sleep cycle where we, like, sleep during the night, sleep during the day, but make sure we're awake as we're sort of approaching the evening, as we're sort of approaching the morning, when we've got some light, like the sun is up but not really up, the beginning and end of the day, that's when we're going to do it. So we can still see things, but it's not that blistering heat. That's what we're going to do to expand the cheetah lifespan. And I don't know, maybe we'll go climb trees or something. It's a cat. It can go sleep in trees or something during the day and night so it isn't in trouble. Okay, we've coached the cheetah to live longer, guys. Cheetahs live a lot longer than diamond soldiers based on some temporal videos you've been watching. Okay. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, but the camel lives for 9. Where's Val? Stop bullying. Yeah, we've been pretty rough on him, guys. Temporal is a cheetah confirmed. I like that, Temporal. You're an ally of the cheetahs. I'm learning so much in this review. Temporal still hasn't said what coffee he buys yet. I mean, I will buy what is... Let's see, what coffee do I buy? I mean, I really just buy what's there. I'm not that picky about my coffee, guys. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna buy what's at the grocery store and relatively cheap. I am not some huge coffee snob. I am of the, oh, my coffee is gonna cost me like 20 cents a cup? Great. 30 cents a cup? Fine. You know, okay, oh, I want to make it more interesting? Okay, it'll cost a little bit more. But, you know, grocery store coffee good, whereas, you know, spending $5 on coffee bad. That's not saying I never do that. Sometimes you're out, sometimes you've got a meeting, sometimes you're traveling, but yeah. Cheap coffee. Cheap coffee is what Temporal buys. Would you rather fight one camel-sized cheetah or 100 cheetah-sized camels? One camel-sized cheetah or 100 cheetah-sized camels. I'll take the one camel-sized cheetah, but that's an easy one. Where do you buy your scarves? Now that's a trade secret. Soldier could have a cheetah skin. Fast character. Okay, okay. Join stream. I'm not a huge coffee snob. Okay, Tem Snobro. Dylan has the best coffee for the price. Okay, okay. Triple your lifespan with these simple tips. Okay. Time to start my day. Sounds good. Enjoy your day, Banana Split. We will have fun discussing the lifespan of various desert animals, including Anna's when they overfocus healing their tanks and don't care enough about their own life.
You're powered up. Get in there.
Sure.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. And the camel in the desert.
Okay, okay. We got the first round.
Ready for battle. 2, 1. Round 2.
My capture is online. Hello.
Regen burst activated.
Hi there.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. And the camel lives. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. And the camel lives for 9.
Yeah, that's fine.
This is going to hurt.
You have to deal with the tracer. Good.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. And the camel lives for 9.
Close the angle. Fresh nade, but let Bap heal you instead.
In the desert,
Do press
cheetah
X for
lives
healing.
in the desert,
The objective is
Teleporter online.
years. And the camel lives
Or
for
grab the
9.
mini. At this point, you can grab the mini.
Nap time.
Okay. It's a little dicey, but your Bap is right here.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for in the desert.
Like, I'm just not sure I really want you using both of your cooldowns at once when there's a tracer and a ball on the board, but okay.
Go. I keep you healed.
Sure.
Go. I keep you
This
healed.
is fine. Tuck harder right. Tuck harder right.
In the desert,
Cooldowns are
cheetah
back.
lives for 3 years. And the camel lives for 9. 9.
Getting good at those ball sleeps.
The pace. I will keep in the desert. The cheetah lives for 3 years. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives for 9. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years,
Okay.
and the camel lives for 9. This will only hurt for in the desert. The cheetah.
The jump
This will
into
only
the
hurt
scope
for a
shots. Okay. You barely caught him. But you did.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel.
You
lives.
needed to rotate out.
In the desert,
There's
the
2 on
cheetah
point,
lives for
plus
3
you know
years,
soldier is
and the
asleep,
camel
it's time to
lives for
leave.
9.
Like, you can see your tracer, but it's time to leave. It is time to leave. You know that your sim cleared this way. You want to retreat out this way at this point. You do not want to try to overstay your welcome like this. No. No. This is greed, and you're going to get punished for this. Yeah. Is this Blah? What? Playing now.
In
This
the
is Adam's
desert,
game.
in the
Yeah, this
desert,
is Adam's game.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3
Blah
years.
trolls pretty hard
and the
sometimes.
in the
Blah's
desert,
also serious
the cheetah
sometimes.
lives for
Adam,
3 years,
Adam
and
likes
the
to
camel
troll
lives
most
in
of the
the
time.
desert, the
But
cheetah
this was
lives for
not
3
a
years,
slight on
and the
Blah's
camel
trolling,
lives for
guys.
9.
What I titled this game. Like, I just,
It's just a scratch. You'll be fine.
I thought most people would identify this as Adam's game here.
Suddenly left to the legend.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. And in the desert,
Okay,
the cheetah
good.
lives for 3 years, and the camel lives for 9.
Usually we would have said, hey, use the sleep
the
here, but
desert,
I'm fine.
the
That's a
cheetah
plenty
lives
big
for
enough
3
group,
years,
even though
and
they're
the
also
camel lives for
Lucio
9.
beated.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives for 9.
He did. 76 did get
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel. In the desert, the
Namaste.
cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel.
Okay, we're
In the
pushing
desert,
this. You can nano this engage?
and
No.
the camel lives for 9. In the desert.
That's probably asleep right there. He's still in the hallway. He can't really move. He unballed, which means he's basically stuck. Okay.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives
Okay,
for
you
9.
can get it there instead if you want.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives for 9. In the desert,
Okay, now our nano.
3 years. In the desert, the
No.
cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives for 9. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years.
I came back in time to not miss this completely. Well, if you'd missed this YS, you wouldn't know that in the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, but the camel lives for 9. So it's really important that you made it here.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives for 9.
Okay.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives for 9.
You nated before he hooked. Okay. Usually your answer, like the generally better answer to hook is sleep, but you did go this before he hooked.
In the desert,
You're powered up. Get in there.
Yeah, okay.
the cheetah. In the desert,
You're powered up. Get in there.
Overtime.
You had 11 shots.
Reality bends to my
cheetah
will.
lives for 3 years, and the camel lives for 9. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and and the camel. In the
Fine,
desert,
rotate out.
the cheetah lives for
Let me
3
get you
years.
patched up.
And in the desert, the cheetah
No,
lives
don't peek
for
that
3
yet.
years.
Yeah.
And the camel lives for 9. In the desert, the
Okay,
cheetah
when
lives
Winston
for
pushes,
3
you
years.
peek.
And the camel lives for 9.
Good.
In the desert, the cheetah.
Was that really the place that you wanted to send that? Like,
And a
here you are.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. And the camel
You
lives
only
for
see your
9.
bubble. Definitely has the bubble up before you throw this, but you probably didn't see it because Hog was in the way. Okay.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for. In the desert,
Okay.
in
Alright,
the
I'm
desert,
fine.
the cheetah lives for. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. And the camel lives for 9.
Okay, that's your limit. Good.
Just a scratch, you'll be fine. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years.
I'm actually a little surprised that you don't cancel out of this, but this is good. This is fine.
In the desert, the cheetah lives
That's
for 3
probably your
years,
threshold
and
to
the
throw the
camel
nade.
lives
Like,
for
you're still
9.
gonna get the Winston. The Winston was pushing. He's not pushing out of his bubble. It is breather. Okay. I suppose.
Just a scratch, you'll be fine.
Yeah, you want one
In the
more heal
desert,
shot here to stabilize
cheetah
enough
lives
for
for
the
3
nade.
years,
By the time you
and the
get that
camel
heal
lives
shot
for
off, the
9.
breather's going. Okay, I'm being... Yeah, that's fair. I don't think so.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. The camel lives for 9.
Yeah. Let's try to be a little bit more aware
In the
of,
desert,
like, you're
the
hitting
cheetah
some
lives
decent
for 3
sleeps,
years.
don't get me
The
wrong.
camel lives
But
for
let's try to
9.
be a little bit more aware of this Hog's Hook cooldown when it comes to our sleep. Like, I'm not saying we specifically have to hold our sleep for Hog's Hook. If we see reasonable probability sleeps, if we see sleeps on Hammonds that are, going for slams, things like that, if we see ults that we need to shut down, that's fine. But, like, there's not going to be any follow-up on this Mercy if you hit a sleep on her here. It's not a terribly easy sleep to hit on her. Like, she's a relatively small target. She can Guardian Angel. She could walk in either direction. Her movement isn't really contained. Hog is an easier sleep, but also Hog does still have his hook. So, like, I'd really prefer to hold that sleep for hook or for a more obvious or more important thing. Like, again, shutting down an ult, hitting something where their movement is limited, like a ball going for a slam, those sorts of things, as opposed to, let me try and just sleep this Mercy because I can. Well, who's going to take advantage of this Mercy being slept? No one. And it's a kind of hard shot to hit, whereas the Hog is easy to hit. The Hog, when he's hooking, is even easier to hit, and it saves lives. It's kind of like shutting down an ult. So I like that you hit some of these sleeps, a decent number of these sleeps, but there's more that we should be doing in terms of prioritizing sleeps that are either higher value or easier. Or, yeah, basically those. Hey, Temporal from Thalos. Hey, Thalos. What about the cheetahs? They only live for 3 years. Doesn't that upset or bother you? I told you my solution to the cheetahs only living for 3 years. Skilled is doing his party piece. Which one's Skillet? Oh, okay. Okay. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. The camel 9. Diamondana Smurf. Okay. I want to know how long the Diamondana Smurf lives for. Okay. Check his PC. Might have a bot purposely designed for spamming voice lines. Okay. Okay. Such dedicated voice line spamming.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. And the camel lives for 9.
So cold, only offering solutions, never any sympathy. I have some sympathy. What did the animal do wrong?
This
Sure.
is going to hurt.
I'm taking the on.
In the desert,
You're powered up. Get in there.
What?
in the desert,
You're powered up. Get in there.
Don't get me wrong. I want to sleep the soldier too. I do. But I want to sleep the soldier. And there's no way I follow the soldier here. I just gave up my cover opportunity. I literally just gave up. Not only did I give up this cover opportunity, I also gave up this cover opportunity against a soldier that was using visor. Like, no thank you. No thank you. Even if this hadn't been here, I did not want to follow this, and I didn't want my opener to be the shot. I wanted my opener to be the sleep. I'm gonna pass on this one, thank you. You walked into that.
Heroes never die.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives for 9.
You going down here is what's gonna open up the potential for round 3 here.
In the desert,
You should not have gone down here.
Helden sterben nicht.
Yeah. The wheels come off. The animals are important.
old soldier. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives for 9. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives for 9.
DP says, okay, I just googled this. The cheetah actually lives 10 to 12 years. I've been lied to by a video game. I'm shocked. Shocked, I say. I'm trying to tell him about the lifespan of cheetahs in deserts and the camels. This is 76's second elimination this whole match. He needs to know, so I'm following him, and it had to be you. He's running away because he doesn't care about the animals. Report loss for throwing. I mean, that was the match right there. I don't think he was actually throwing, but that was way more aggressive than made sense. Why did the Anna start running forward like a cheetah? I don't know. To pull around is not important. What about him knowing animal lifespans? Well, that's a point there. That's a point there. Got a third and a fourth elimination. DP, that's a lie. All of those statements are true.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives for 9. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives for 9. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years.
Camels live 40 to 50 years. Okay.
3 years.
But again, are we talking about in the wild, in captivity, in what are we talking about? He's a monster? Okay, okay.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives
Sure.
for 9. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives for 9.
Why are you in the open? Why do you want to be here rather than here or back here? This is a really weird place for you to have wandered to. Like, this is really... I'm actually surprised that you didn't just, heal your Winston and have your Winston solve the soldier and continue to play from here, to be honest. Or here. Or continue your rotation over to here. This is not a good place to stand with this space that the opponents control.
Get here. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years,
Good.
and the camel lives for 9. Get here. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives for 9.
Go to sleep.
Zen just body blocking like a champ there. Probably not intentional, but hilarious.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years.
Oh look, it's the soldier that we didn't deal with. Ouch. Ouch. The soldier unleashed his inner camel. Camel mode unlocked. The only truly wild camels that still exist are Bactrian camels. These herds survived the Gobi Desert of Mongolia and China. Okay, okay.
Hello.
Youth truly is wasted on the young.
Game 3, camel cheetah, camel cheetah carers versus animal haters. Who will win?
The cheetah
Okay,
lives for
okay.
3 years, and the camel lives in the desert. The cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives for 9. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. And the camel. In the desert, the cheetah lives for. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. And the camel. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. And the camel lives for 9. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. And the camel.
Fine.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. In the desert, the
Good.
cheetah lives for 3 years. And the camel
Reasonable.
lives for 9. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. And the camel. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. And the camel lives for 9. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. And the camel. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. And the camel. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. And the camel lives for 9.
Sure.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives for 9. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3. In the desert, the cheetah
This
lives
is
for
fine.
3 years, and the camel. In the desert,
Why are
the
you
cheetah
here?
lives for 3 years.
Like, why
and the
are you
camel
here in the
lives for
first place?
9.
Are you expecting your team to spawn camp? Is that why you're rotating forward? If you're not expecting a spawn camp, and you could spawn camp, but not really, like, you didn't wipe them cleanly enough to go earn a spawn camp. I don't know why you wandered halfway up here. Like, you can heal your team from here. You don't really expect your team to go significantly deeper for a spawn camp because there's too many people alive, even if you don't know exactly where they are. This is wrong. You should have just stayed here.
In the desert, the cheetah
I'm not
lives
saying
for
you
3
can't
years,
open the
and
angle and
camel
shoot at
lives for
them from
9.
here, but you shouldn't have wandered out to just the middle like this. That's another time of weird positioning like you had at the end of that previous round.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives for 9.
I thought we were going deeper because 3 people were pushing forward. Okay. Okay.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years.
I wanted to tell them about
and the
camels.
camel
Yeah, I
lives
get
for
it.
9.
That's why I was wondering
the
forward.
desert,
Yeah, I get it. The real
cheetah
reason
lives
is you
for
wanted
3
to tell
years,
them about
and the
camels.
camel
I get
lives
it.
for 9.
But maybe there was this little voice in your brain that was like, oh, people are pushing. Maybe I should go. I get it.
In the desert,
Adam
the
gets
cheetah
10
lives
SR
for
for every
3
cheetah he
years,
saves.
and
Okay.
the camel lives for 9. I've seen it. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives for 9. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years.
We're going. Okay.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives for 9.
This is just too hard. Like, you can throw this nade, but generally when you have like an enclosed space like this and you need to get ability power through your teammates, and like you got this nade, so I'm not going to complain, but like if you have both cooldowns available in this type of situation, Sleep Dart's ability to travel through your teammates without being quite so fragile as nade can actually make it the better choice. It's what I would have expected to see here.
In the desert, the cheetah lives
But hey,
for 3
you got the nade
years,
up, so no
and
problem.
the camel lives for 9. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives for
Oh boy.
In the desert,
We just jump
the
spamming.
cheetah lives for 3 years.
Jump spamming is not a defense. You
In
were
the
pretty good
desert,
about this
the
second
cheetah
round.
lives
Most of
for
your
3
jumps had a
years,
purpose.
and the
This
camel
third round,
lives
it's
for
creeping
9.
back up as a bit of an issue, though.
You're powered up. Get in there.
And it's not like you constantly want to be jumping, like, oh, I'll jump, because sometimes I'll want to swap it into a scoped one, and I don't know which one, because you only have specific times in your movement that you can swap to that scope without slowing it down. So you don't want to just constantly be jumping. You want to jump if you know that you're going to want to hit a scope shot in a moment. And you want to keep your momentum, because you're trying to rotate across, for example.
It's just a scratch.
You're
You'll be
jumping to raise
fine.
awareness? Okay, okay.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives for 9.
Gotta save these camels. Adam, how much % of your brain is spent remembering to press that bind? I think I played this game on half brain between spamming the keys and spamming this in mic comms. Ooh, ooh. You don't hear me saying in the desert in comms, gotta save these camels, man. Ooh, can you record a YouTube video so we get the full experience? Temporal, I'm jumping to raise awareness for the camels. Okay. It's just distracting himself as his allies have muted him 20 minutes ago. Well, only 13 and a half minutes ago, but yes. You should macro it so it appears in chat too. Ah.
In the desert,
Wouldn't show
the
up in our
cheetah
chat though.
lives for 3 years, and the camel
Helden
lives for
sterben
9.
nicht.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives for 9.
No. We're not pushing onto point with 74 HP and then throwing a nade that doesn't also hit us. We're not doing that. If we're doing this nade is also, like, maybe we think pushing onto the point is better safety than staying out here, but if we're doing that, this nade still has to hit us. We could try to be greedy and run up, and so the nade hits both us and soldier, but there's no way we're not self-nading at this HP with no real cover available to us.
In the desert,
They switch soldiers. Maybe this one is better, but I won't bet on it. So I was Googling yesterday, I found out something interesting. In the desert, but only in the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, right? But the camel, check this, lives for 9.
in the desert,
Thank you, Adam.
the
Thank
cheetah
you.
lives for 3 years, and the camel. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives for 9. In the desert, the
Maybe,
cheetah lives for 3
do you remember the high rank account called Catfax? Maybe Adam could be Camelfax? Maybe.
The cheetah in the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years.
Fine nade.
In the desert, the cheetah in the desert.
So you naded your team. You go
In the
for a sleep
desert,
on the
The
Zen.
cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives for 9.
Rather than this. You had the audio cues that this was happening. These are both easier targets than the Zen. This is annoying in what it's doing. It's more dangerous to your team. Grav plus Whole Hog is a pretty powerful combo, actually. Your team has rally going. You got a nade on them. So, like, don't get me wrong. They're doing okay. But, like, I'm surprised that the sleep went here. Yes, the sleep going over there maybe had the potential of saving your teammate. But, I'm not loving that one. Again, you tended to be just a little too willing to just be like, I can just hit whatever sleep in the world when there are things that are like higher probability sleeps. I like that you've pushed your limits and you've sort of been like, nope, I can make my sleeps better. I can do this. I can do this. I can hit these targets. I believe in myself. I like that. But we do at some point want to, like, and that's fine to be limit testing yourself, to be going, hey, I'm going to push it, all that stuff. But we do want to at some point, if we want to maximize our wins, maximize our SR, go, hey, I'm not afraid to shoot a sleep at a Zen. I'm not afraid to shoot a sleep at a Tracer, but I do recognize that a sleep on a whole hogging hog is easier and in many ways more important than the sleep on the Mercy with the Harmony Orb out in the middle of the open that none of my teammates can see.
The cheetah lives for 3 years.
Actually, I
and the
wanted to
camel
sleep the
lives for
Zen so I
9.
could talk to him about cheetah lifespans. There you go. There you go. I don't know. Watch when this game ends. Adam, crunch. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, but the candle lives for 9. Stop talking about desert facts, Anna. That's the mod title. Could be. Could be.
In the desert, the cheetah lives. In the desert, the cheetah lives. In the desert, the cheetah lives. In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel.
Does
lives
Temporal
for 9.
leave the objective sound on to punish us for not being good enough at Overwatch? These are not desert facts. These are desert lies. Yes. No, they're true. Maybe. Maybe as the community gets better at Overwatch, I'll turn down the sound at that. Maybe. Okay. Temporal leaves those options on because they reset every time Temporal loads Overwatch. I don't know if that one does.
The pain is coming.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel. In the desert, the cheetah lives for in the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, and the camel lives for 9.
Okay.
In the desert,
You have 6 shots left. No one's actually shooting at you, Tracer. No, we don't need that.
in the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years.
You're powered up. Get in there.
In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years.
Unfortunate.
The camel lives for
You're powered up. Get in there.
in the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years.
Reality bends to my will.
The cheetah
Play the
lives for
sim wall.
3 years.
Push back into the sim wall. Push back in. Good.
In the desert,
Okay. So, there's a couple things that we'd work on. The first thing that we'd work on is we do need to put more priority on our own life. We do need to be a little more, hey, we want to protect the cheetahs, protect the camels. Like, that is very important. I understand. But we do need to put more priority into protecting your own life, because if you don't protect your own life, who is going to spread the good word about the cheetah and camel lifespans? So, rather than being like, oh, let's prop up Reinhardt, let's prop up, Hog, rather than be like, oh, we'll heal these people forever even when we're in danger, they're not spreading the good word about cheetah and camel lifespans, so we're going to care about them a little bit less. Yes, we'll keep them alive because keeping them alive helps keep us alive, which lets you spam more voice lines, and, that seems to have some value, so okay, we can go with that. But especially when you have BAP as your support partner, and when you have to recognize like how Reinhardt works, Reinhardt has a shield. If Reinhardt gets in trouble, Reinhardt does have tools to protect himself for a bit with his shield, even if it's low life. Reinhardt does understand that he needs to play around corners, or at least he should. If he's feeding, and that's on him. You cannot afford to just ignore it when Hammonds are on you, when Tracers are on you. When people are shooting at you, you can't just be like, no, 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 with my last breath of life, I will try to save the Reinhardt. Reinhardt is not a cheetah or a camel. So that's just not going to work. So like more focus on if you get into trouble, it's totally fine to rotate towards the person that you want to heal, away from the person that's shooting at you. That's totally fine, but you do need to potentially send a sleep dart at them. Turn and keep them honest with your weapon play. Even if you feel like, no, I'm scared, I can't hit them with my weapon, and this doesn't apply to you because you can hit them with your weapon, your aim is fine, you can absolutely go, hey, you're going to, even by pointing your weapon in their direction, keep them more honest, make them think more about dodging your shots, not getting hit, which is going to cause them to do less damage to you, which may mean that you take them out. In the case of someone like Hammond, it just is going to make them think a little more, which potentially buys more time for your team to do things, to your team to deal with them, etc. And again, other people can heal your Reinhardt. Your Reinhardt can go behind cover. Your Hog can pop his breather. Your Hog can go behind cover. So like, you don't want to just ignore Reinhardt for like 7 seconds. You definitely don't. But if you're in trouble, you do need to go, nope, your life is more important than that of your tanks. And you need to extract yourself from trouble by actively paying attention to the trouble until it's clear, and then you flip back to paying attention to the front line. That is important, and that is the most important thing we saw in this VOD for you to work on of sort of the 3 things that we're going to cover here. The second thing that we're going to cover here is going to be your sleep darts. You hit some good sleep darts. We like it. We like seeing some across the map sleep darts onto squishy small heroes. Those look good. But we do need to recognize that I think, you're probably doing that to get better at your sleep darts. You're doing more of those, and that is good. Hitting those is good. But we do need to recognize, is there going to be any follow-up for our sleep dart? Are we going to leave ourselves without anything to defend ourselves? Is there any risk of us being pushed if we leave ourselves without something to defend ourselves with? But specifically, does our targeting make sense? Like, yes, you want to push yourself. You want to be able to hit reliably these smaller heroes, but you also want to be thinking about, Is there a whole hog I'm going to be able to shut down? Is there a hook I'm going to be able to shut down? Is there a pile drive that I'm going to be able to shut down? And is it likely to happen in the next couple seconds while I don't have sleep? And if the answer to that is yes, and especially if the answer to that is yes, and you're also not going to have your nade, we probably want to hold it for that thing. So, like, again, you're hitting some fine sleeps, and we like that, but we want you to very much go, hey, I am aware of higher opportunity, either easier to hit, lower risk, and higher reward, shutting down ults, things like that. Like, you don't want to go, aha, I slept to the Harmony Orbed Mercy, and now Soldier's Tac Visoring. Whoops, that's not terribly good. So, like, that's the other thing that we want to fix there. That one's tricky. You have to be careful on that, because I do not want to, like, have you so hard adjust this that you get afraid to sleep squishies except when they're on top of you. Like, I don't want you to be afraid to sleep squishies. I don't want you only using your sleep dart into ults, into things like hooks and pile drive, but I want a little bit more awareness there. Like, if you're on a scale right here, and this is the scale of, hey, you're going a little too wild with sleep darts right here, and this is the scale of you only sleep dart, ult and shutdowns and big targets that are easy to hit. You're like over here right now, and I don't want you over here. I want you like here. I want you to scale this back just a little bit. I want just a little bit more awareness of, like, wait, is there an easy target to hit that I'm likely to need to shut down in the next couple seconds? An easy target to hit, like a ball, like the Roadhog, whatever, that I'm likely to need to shut down in the next couple seconds. I start especially paying attention to hogs and Hammonds, because you're good at sleeping Hammonds, relatively speaking. So, have a little more attention for where is he, am I going to have to do it. Try to be mentally tracking these guys a little bit more than you are. And then the final thing is your positioning did get a little wonky at times. We had things like this where you pushed into the open. I know you thought your team was going to push. We had situations like on Sanctum where the soldier wasn't clear, but you just sort of pushed into the open off of the high ground there and just sort of sat in the middle between two spots. You pushed too deep after your Reinhardt on the first point there on Shrine. Like, you have some times where you're just sort of going, hey, you're out in the open and it doesn't really make sense. And you didn't retreat on Sanctuary when your team got wiped except for Tracer, and even Tracer was behind you, but you knew the retreat was safe because Simon cleared it. So there's a little bit more in terms of safety of your positioning that I want you to pay attention to. So those are the three things I'd give you, and you want to implement these things so that you can go to higher SRs, so that you can spread more about the camels and the cheetahs lifespans, because you gotta climb the ranks so that more and more people can see it, right? You gotta be alive, you gotta do these things, you gotta be winning the games, because when you're like winning the games and you're higher SR and you're doing all that stuff, well, then you get sponsorships, and your sponsor, or instead of sponsorships, you can raise awareness about the camels and the cheetahs in the desert. So there you go. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed that one. If you have any more questions, comments, trolling to do, throw them up in chat now. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate it. And I also want to say thank you once again for the super chats. We had the... Are they not showing up in the chat history anymore? That's weird. Oh, I can't scroll back that far anymore. But thank you once again for the two super chats we had in here. That was very, very much appreciated. Okay. So, okay. Temporal named this stream something to do with cheetahs and camel facts, or we're all disliking? Well, we'll see. We'll see. Ready to take some punishment. Brig is the best line for being nanoed. Yeah, yeah. I already did it. Was my first super chat. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was a very good super chat. There are estimated to be fewer than 1,000 wild Batrician camels remaining, and their population is expected to decrease as much as 80% over the next 45 to 50 years. Well, it's a good thing that Adam is raising awareness about the camels then. Here, in case you missed it, in the desert, In the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, but the camel lives for 9. Unrelated to the VOD question, skincare routine recommendations. Probably not the person to help you with that. Sorry. What if Ryan gets cheetah or camel skin? Well, then you might have to prioritize his life more. Went to the desert, no camels nor cheetahs, just penguins. Well, yeah, I mean, technically there's deserts where that's true because they don't meet the rainfall requirements. But most people, when they're thinking of deserts, are thinking of the sandy type, not the frozen over type. In the desert, any soldier, trace, or cheetah skin, we'll see. That may have been a different hemisphere or a portion of the zoo. I won because the spirit of the camels and cheetahs were with me. Okay. This whole stream is scuffed. Is it, though? Is it? Tracer should get a cheetah skin. Could be. He's going to hear me talk about cheetahs and camels. Cheetah skin in Apex looked like it was aimed. Yeah, we're probably not going to talk about that. That doesn't seem like something YouTube would like. To be serious and funny, on round 2, I found attempting to sleep that Mercy an easier shot than hitting the hog. Really? Interesting. It's easier for me to match the tempo of a squishy with a flick compared to a tank sometimes. Okay, well then you have something slightly different to work on. But you understand that because you do want to be able to shut down hogs, for example. The hog, again, maybe not for you, you might not be the easiest shutdown target, but the ability to shut down hooks, the ability to shut down whole hogs is pretty important, and it shouldn't be that hard to train. And also the camels. I could get sponsored by the National Council of Cheetah and Camel Lifespans. You could. The National Council of Cheetah and Camel Lifespans, but only in the desert. Okay. How much did this take off your lifespan? These claims about cheetahs and camels are dubious. Okay. DP is fact-checking here. Okay. They're not dubious, and my lifespan doubled from this. Okay. I mean, anything controversial, they're going to be difficult on, James. I go for a lot of flash slips, though, yes, and you hit a decent number of them, so we're good with it. Okay, those are what I'm going to give you to work on. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, again, please do like and subscribe, as that helps out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate that. If you're looking to get coaching yourself, even through the most trolliest of trolls, we've got the ability to do coaching here. You can figure out how to get it by joining my Discord in the description below there, see what my rates look like, or if you're looking for a freebie, maybe I'll grab one out of the freebie hopeful section. Wouldn't count on it. The best way to get coaching really is to go through the rates there. But you can also see what other events we have, like we did server scrims a few days ago. Those were fun. All that good stuff. That's going to do it. And Adam is finishing off with a spam of in the desert, the cheetah lives for 3 years, the camel lives for 9. Seems like a good way to end it. Thanks, guys.